Hey BlueFireWitch, Anastasia. I'd like to also say, as some other people have said, that this is probably your best video ever. I don't know why, but I guess everyone just sort of understands what you're getting at and has felt the same themselves. I think it's probably universal across all religions that everyone has moments like this, and sometimes they go on to something, to a new conception of the same religious path, or onto a new religious path, or onto no religious path, onto atheism. All results are good as long as the person is being true to themselves. Excuse me if I'm a bit all over the place. I'm not very well, but I can't sleep anymore, so I think this is all I'm really capable of. Yeah. I guess the main thing that I have to say is that I think some degree of doubt is necessary for the maintenance of sanity, rationality, logic. But it's very hard to balance doubt with belief in order to attain a state that feels like communion, and yet with the divine, and yet doesn't take you to a place that is so removed from where everyone else is coming from that you seem insane, or you can't understand what they're on about, or and that kind of state is, I don't think, very healthy. And I've been there before. Just one moment, just gonna have some more water. Yeah, when I was younger, I've been in a state of mind where I felt that it was a good thing to be in the world but not of it. But I kind of missed out the whole in the world part of it, and went off on this insane spiritual quest where I basically lost contact with reality. Now, I have some reasons to believe that what I went through at that time was definitely real. It doesn't mean it was. I'm just saying that I can rationally analyze that time in my life, and there is evidence there that something occurred, and that I didn't make it all up in my head, although I'm sure imagination was involved at some point. But I completely believed in a spiritual dimension, alternate planes of reality, and beings that can cross over into our dimension from theirs. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't really think that I don't know about other languages, but I don't think the English language is really possesses terminology which can accurately describe this kind of experience. So for me, I completely suspended all disbelief. And I really felt that spiritual experience was more important than the mundane, and separate from the mundane. And it was, it ended up in some severe negativity. I completely lost my connection with the mundane world, and I was on a different sort of path then as well. I wasn't identifying as a pagan at that point. it was very frightening in the end, because at that point, I was coming from quite a negative framework, so the experiences that I had were quite frightening, in a lot of ways. So I was just terrified at the end of it, and I had to just completely disconnect and go completely back to the mundane 100% of the time, 24 hours a day. I basically, sort of barred myself from that experience, because the experience I had of letting go of the mundane and absorbing myself completely into my spiritual experience was so bad. It wasn't until later on that I realised that I had sort of intentionally taken myself to that place, and I could have taken myself somewhere else and I might have had a wonderful experience. But I still do believe that you need to, we're on this planet for a reason, like, even if there is no supernatural reason for that, even if we just are because we are, and there's a lot of things to enjoy about being here, and just the mundane nature of life, of eating and sleeping and making love and, learning things and meeting new people, these things are very enriching to our lives, even from a completely atheistic perspective. But I guess about the whole deity thing, I'm kind of in a bit of a non-committal position on this, even though I probably shouldn't be, I guess, because I do have experience that suggests to me that deity, right, and I'm not talking about the big God that created everything, right, that's a completely different other story to me, but I'm talking about the gods, which I don't believe that, like these polytheistic beings, these gods that I believe in, and again, English language is not giving me much to work with here. I don't believe that they created the universe, these beings that I'm talking about. But I've had some interaction with what I think are aspects of deity. But I choose, I guess, for fear of seeming insane to myself or others, to sort of leave myself in a bit of a non-committal space where I could imagine that they were real and existed in and of themselves, or were archetypes, aspects of me. I guess maybe in a way I want them to be aspects of me, because what they are is so much grander and more amazing than myself. I don't know. At the same time, it doesn't really feel 100% authentic, so I may have to sort of work on that. But it is important to me to somehow sort of tread a middle ground, so that I can interact with everyone else in their sort of realm of existence. Yes. I hate the English language right now, and also because I'm mentally impaired by being sick. It's not the easiest to explain myself when I'm talking about these complex topics. Yeah, so I guess that's my solution that I've sort of come to in the end, is being non-committal about the whole thing. Saying, oh, maybe not. But then I guess, as an atheist or a skeptic or whatever you want to call this kind of stance would say, and they have every right to say it too, We're kind of all talking out of our asses when we talk about these topics, because we can't sort of bring something to the table. I can't say, well, here's Artemis to talk to you about, the history of the history of her worship. There you go. Speak now. It doesn't really work like that. I don't have any proof that I can show other people that these things exist, and and for all the anecdotal evidence that I have, it doesn't necessarily explain like the whole story. It doesn't give me enough information to be able to, explain everything, and it probably never will. I don't believe anyone will have that. So I really hope that I made some sense. Probably should have waited to make this video, but I'm bored. I just wanted to do something, take my mind off of being sick. So anyway, thanks for listening, and blessed be.